Yeah, I ain't hear about that raid. I only heard about the, the LA and Miami raid. But you feel like the feds, they released that video over King Combs' comments.
Oh man, I've worked in law enforcement for 27 years, and I had the opportunity to see HIDA. It's a place, whereas they have the state, the feds, the NYPD, the Department of Corrections, and the state police. Yo, this place could be half of a basketball court. That's where they just got lines of computers with officers of all different people and officers just on the internet. Whoever's over that case, whoever's working that case, don't you know they saw that and took it to their boss?
The Los Angeles courtroom fell into stunned silence when the defense attorney brought up allegations about Christian Combs and underage guests at what were called FreakOffs. You could sense the atmosphere transform instantly. The tension became palpable as photographers captured the moment Christian pushed back his chair, his complexion suddenly pale, and exited abruptly.
It was impossible not to go Phoenix.
Me and my dog.
Now it was
Me and my son right here. Firstborn.
Everyone wanted to be around.
His name is Bailey.
It exhausted him.
Look at him.
People just couldn't leave.
Who's your daddy?
Especially the girls. Christ.
No.
Girls. It was embarrassing.
Sit.
Hard just to get him to call somebody. He like, it's too much work. Like, so happy birthday, Christian. Thank you everybody for coming and cheers.
Don't stop.
27. 27.
No subtle gesture of farewell, no quiet apology. He simply stormed past his legal team and disappeared through the exit doors. This dramatic scene represented exactly the kind of pivotal moment journalists wait their entire careers to witness. Everything changed with one explosive revelation during the hearing: accusations involving minors at lavish yacht gatherings. Christian's hasty departure wasn't merely escaping the courtroom, it was about controlling the narrative. When the attorney suggested children had been brought to these performances, the story took a significantly darker turn than anything previously acknowledged in press statements. To substantiate these claims, the attorney presented transcripts from audio recordings. These clips, captured by a producer in an improvised recording studio aboard a yacht, documented a young woman named Grace Omar Kay rejecting advances that she claims became violent after consuming tequila shots she believes contained drugs. Grace had accepted employment as a yacht steward on a vessel chartered by Sean Diddy Combs in late December 2022. She anticipated serving meals and beverages during a family vacation. Instead, she describes constant partying, an ever-changing group of suspected sex workers, and alcoholic beverages that caused people to lose consciousness after minimal consumption.
It's Sunday.
It's Sunday.
We don't got no job.
We don't got no job.
And we don't got nothing to do.
And we ain't got nothing to do. Cause we have to do that together.
This revealing audio emerged shortly after a yacht staff member filed legal action against Christian, alleging sexual assault during that December 2022 voyage. According to her account, the incident occurred during what was supposed to be a wholesome family journey with Christian and his father. She states Diddy was responsible for chartering the yacht. Her testimony describes Christian arriving heavily, intoxicated, pressuring her to drink tequila shots, then inappropriately touching her legs, chest, and worse, even attempting to force oral contact. She managed to resist and escape, only to have him track her location to the movie theater area, which doubled as sleeping quarters, block the exit, and attack again until someone finally intervened. Her legal complaint details severe emotional consequences, anxiety attacks, thoughts of suicide, an eating disorder, and even seizures following the incident. Photographic evidence of bruises on her arm and audio files were included in her court filing when she sued both Combs men for sexual assault.
Now a son of embattled music mogul Sean Diddy Combs has been accused of sexual assault. A lawsuit filed in LA Superior Court on Thursday accuses Christian King Combs of sexually assaulting and possibly drugging a woman in December 2022. The woman says it happened while she was working on a yacht that Diddy had chartered. This comes just over a week after homes owned by Diddy were raided in LA and Miami as part of a federal human trafficking investigation. Neither the attorneys for Combs or Diddy have commented on the new legal complaint.
In a new lawsuit, Sean Diddy Combs' second son, Christian Combs, is accused of sexually assaulting a crew member working on a super yacht. That suit was filed here in Los Angeles. Attorneys representing former yacht stewardess Grace O'Markey say she was sexually assaulted on board a yacht when she was 25 years old in December of 2022 by Diddy's son, rapper Christian Combs. They say his dad, Sean Combs, leased the yacht and had full control of its staff and the premises. O'Markey's lawyers say Combs turned what was sold as a wholesome family excursion into a hedonistic environment. They stated, quote, defendant Sean Combs fostered and encouraged an environment of debauchery. There was always a party atmosphere filled with suspected sex workers, suspected laced alcohol, violence, and sheer disrespect of women and the yacht's crew. The lawsuit also contains photos of bruises that O'Markey's lawyers say she suffered when Christian Combs violently grabbed her and attempted to force her to perform a sex act. They also included a transcript of an audio recording which they say captures O'Markey being forced to consume suspected laced shots of tequila.
Assault, harassment, emotional distress, and premises liability. During proceedings, Grace's attorney Tyrone Blackburn was direct and unflinching. He elaborated on the audio transcripts, informed jurors about beverages allegedly spiked with GHB and similar substances, and suggested additional recordings existed, evidence he would fight to present. Then he made the unexpected statement that the Combs siblings had a history of assisting and participating in these freak-offs with underage individuals. Christian's lawyer Aaron Dyer later dismissed Blackburn's lawsuit as inappropriate and without merit, promising legal action to dismiss what he characterized as fabricated accusations. However, numerous documents appear to support these allegations. In a comprehensive lawsuit, producer Rodney Lil Rod Jones directly identifies Justin Combs, describing him as someone who arranges meetings with prostitutes, underage girls, and sex workers. The lawsuit actually includes an image allegedly showing Justin Combs with a minor. In this particular instance, Lil Rod claims at least one underage girl attended a listening party at Diddy's residence, where a sex worker was apparently also present, and a freak-off subsequently occurred. As an important note, this same night is when Lil Rod alleges Diddy forced him to consume a drugged drink, after which he began feeling dizzy, and later regained consciousness at 4 a.m.
The victim in the case has produced audio recordings that allegedly shows forcing himself upon her and that he wouldn't take no for an answer.
Clothed beside a sex worker. It's significant that Justin Combs appears as a defendant in this case because, according to Lil Rod's account, he facilitated his father's alleged criminal enterprise and sometimes participated directly. So what exactly constituted these freak-offs? According to prosecutors, these weren't innocent social gatherings. They were orchestrated sexual performances organized by Diddy with his children's...
Check this out, y'all. This is Diddy. This is my son, King Combs. I've been watching my pop since I was a kid. And I'm proud of you, boy.
Parent support. In the Manhattan indictment, these events are described as meticulously arranged performances where participants, including some minors, were coerced into drug-influenced sexual activities while being recorded. The lawsuit identifies both Combs siblings as more than mere...
I was at I believe to be one of P. Diddy's freak-offs.
Now, singer-songwriter Tania Wallace told TMZ's Harvey Levin for the Tubi special, The Downfall of Diddy, Inside the Freak-Offs. She believes she witnessed underage victims at one of Diddy's 2018 parties.
I'm looking like, are those midgets? Because people were it's people over them, like it's people trying to hide what they're doing.
Adults who are little people, or are you talking about minors?
Am I gonna get in trouble? I don't want to say I witnessed any of that crazy stuff, but we all have common sense. Little people that's not supposed to be there.
You're talking about underage people.
It's a shame.
Is this woman, Tania, is she really saying that there were minors involved in these freak-offs?
That is exactly what she's saying, Billy.
Yeah, the fact, Jake, that the government in this indictment presented evidence alleging that Sean Combs was running a criminal enterprise, and they actually named it in the indictment, the Combs Enterprise. And they said that this enterprise consisted of him as the alleged leader, his employees, assistants, staff, allegedly, that were able to procure women and alleged male sex workers to engage in performances for his own sexual gratification. Where it differs from a mob indictment, it has all the elements of putting together this racketeering allegation of all these moving pieces using resources from his businesses. But the fact that this is about an allegation of sexual gratification being accomplished by alleged human trafficking. It's one of the most unique indictments I've ever seen in this area, in the area of sex crimes.
First of all, he is not steering away from the idea of the freak-offs. They seem to be saying, these were called freak-offs, we're going to call them freak-offs, but they're not illegal.
Yeah.
But one of the charges he faces is transportation to engage in prostitution. If he's saying, yeah, I hired sex workers, but if he's transporting them and paying for them, I feel like it's going to be very, very difficult to argue he's not guilty of that charge. We talked last time about how he tried to get it dismissed from the case, basically saying it's a racist charge, but it's going in.
Yeah, so Diddy just walked into the courtroom like he normally does. He hugged all of his attorneys. He, dabbed up Mark Agnifilo. I think he was kind of searching in the gallery to see if he had family there, because when court had first started, nobody was there from his family. And I think he kind of looks forward, and I'm just speculating here, obviously I'm not in his mind, but I think he looks for people, especially his mom, to be inside that courtroom in the gallery. But today it was just Justin Combs all by himself. I think in the moment when he had first walked into the courtroom, it was a little bit after it had started, he kind of was like clearing his throat. I don't know if it was because he actually had to clear his throat or if it was to get his father's attention, just to let him know that he is here.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, but Diddy did turn around a couple of times. I don't know if it was to see if more of his family came in or to see, just to kind of like check in with Justin during that, but he seems to always kind of be more excited to see his family inside that courtroom.
This lawsuit is bad for Diddy. He may be able to get out of it, but the optics are terrible when he's already facing a criminal investigation. This may be the nail in the coffin for him.
Bystanders. They allegedly assisted in recruiting underage girls, distributed money, supplied locations with necessary items, and even filmed encounters alongside their father. Additional allegations suggest Christian actively participated in these events and potentially drugged women, claims echoed by Lil Rod. Legal experts now question how federal investigators might substantiate such allegations, noting this.
But focusing on Christian Combs, Omarky says that Christian Combs had been staying at a villa on the shore, but that he would come onto the yacht in the evening to party. And on December 28, 2022, Christian reportedly arrived very intoxicated and then proceeded to pressure Omarky to take shots of tequila. She did. Christian allegedly tried to get her to drink more in the yacht's makeshift studio. Omarky alleges that Christian kissed her neck, kissed her face, as he groped her legs, breasts, and private areas. Omarky reportedly told Christian, quote, "Excuse me, you don't touch my legs like that. I'll move my legs where I want to. If I want to do this, then I will. You don't touch my legs like that." Omarky then says that she told Christian she couldn't stay with him unless it was approved by a supervisor, all of whom she knew would be asleep at the time, so this was a way for her to get out of the situation. She claims that Christian said, "Who can I talk to? I'm going to say I requested you right now." Omarky then says she responded with, quote, "Well, you can take your hand off my ass for the first thing."
Omarky says this is what happened next. She says she tried to go back to work, but Christian ends up finding her and wants her to find him a place to sleep for the night in the yacht. So she takes him to the cinema room of the yacht. And that is when she claims Christian stopped her from leaving, groped her, took off all of his clothes, and tried to force her to perform oral sex on him. Now, she says she was allegedly able to fight him off. Someone walks into the room, and then she was able to leave. And she said when she reported this to the captain, according to her, the captain berates her. And she alleges that the captain may have even been paid off by Sean Combs to keep quiet about what happened. And I will tell you what's really interesting about this complaint, embedded in the complaint are photographs that purport to be Omarky's arms with bruises on them. And that is really interesting. You don't usually see that in a complaint like this. All right, so I want to bring on right now criminal defense attorney Mauricio Padilla, friend of the show. He's represented some very high-profile defendants in high-profile cases. Good to see you once again. So I don't think we've had a chance to talk about this lawsuit, and now that the news is reporting that Christian has been served with papers here. Why is that significant?
Well, it's significant because anytime that they have the opportunity to continue to remind the public of the malfeasance of Diddy, of Diddy's son, of anything related to sexually inappropriate behavior, sexual assault, it helps. It helps the government continue to, lay out the narrative of how bad Diddy was, how bad Diddy's son was. So I think it's consistent with, what they've been doing, putting it out there and really destroying his character. I'm not saying that he didn't do anything to deserve it. I'm saying it's consistent with what they're doing, whether it's the government or the lawyers that are suing him civilly.
Pattern appears across numerous civil suits where women claim Diddy drugged them. Now Lil Rod has also implicated Justin Combs in similar behavior. These accusations create a troubling backdrop for Christian's legal situation. On September 16, 2024, a Manhattan grand jury indicted Diddy on racketeering, trafficking, and related charges.
To Miss Omarkey, Jones taped this event with her. Yes, the lawsuit provides transcripts of audio recordings, and these audio recordings purportedly show, or you can hear, kissing sounds, her telling Combs not to touch her, her allegedly asking about whether she was drugged. Now, we haven't heard these tapes here on Law and Crime yet, but if they are what they purport to be, that is a huge piece of evidence. And remember, when we're talking a civil case, when we're talking lawsuits, the burden of proof is much lower than a criminal case. It's just preponderance of the evidence, more likely than not that this happened. So the civil suit accuses Christian of assault, battery, sexual assault, and intentional infliction of emotional distress. They're a big part of this lawsuit. She goes into the mental anguish that she has gone through, the emotional harm that she has suffered as a result of that. That's important in order to prove.
Prosecutors allege he manipulated women, some as young as 9 years old, into participating in freak-offs with paid male sex workers, administered drugs to ensure compliance, and documented everything on video. Authorities contend his enterprise encompassed serious crimes including arson, bribery, and kidnapping. But the central focus remains the alleged sexual exploitation at these events. The courtroom revelations have sent shockwaves through the entertainment industry, raising serious questions about accountability and the potential exploitation of power and privilege. As additional witnesses come forward and more evidence emerges, investigators continue building their case against the Combs family members. The allegations paint a disturbing picture of systematic abuse potentially spanning years, involving multiple accomplices and
I think that if we're talking about additional charges and additional defendants, those are probably two of the more likely. And Christian, of course, was the subject of a civil lawsuit where there was a sexual assault allegation naming him directly. So I think if we're going to cast a bit of a wider net, people are talking about family members, other celebrities, maybe some employees like Christina Forum, but I think the most likely would be those two sons.
Why do you think it's the most likely about those two? Just because of the recordings, the allegations against him? What are you thinking?
I think so. I think obviously they're just civil allegations and those cases are going to be put on hold while the criminal case plays out. But, there is some smoke there. And obviously, there's a presumption of innocence and there's a lower standard in a civil case. But you have someone who's been named directly as someone who participated in a sexual assault. And everything else has been rumors and speculation. But here you at least have one verified complaint.
Numerous victims, some allegedly minors. Legal observers note the significance of audio recordings, photographic evidence, and consistent testimony across multiple cases, suggesting prosecutors may have substantial evidence to support their charges. Meanwhile, defense attorneys maintain their clients' innocence, claiming the accusations represent coordinated attempts to damage reputations and extract financial settlements. As the legal process unfolds, advocates for survivors of sexual assault emphasize the courage required for victims to come forward against powerful figures in the entertainment industry. Support organizations have reported increased calls following news coverage of these allegations, highlighting how high-profile cases often encourage others to speak about their experiences. The Combs family legal troubles, a comprehensive analysis. Recent months the entertainment world has watched intently as federal investigations and civil lawsuits.
I believe it was Justin, Diddy, and G walked into the bathroom. Gunshots rang out. Lil Rod woke up so scared. Justin and Diddy left. Lil Rod went in the bathroom, saw G out all over the place, literally called the ambulance, carried him out. It was carnage and everything, put him in the ambulance. The police showed up. Lil Rod cited that in his lawsuit, and then they asked for the LAPD's report. The LAPD just released an 18-page report with no mention of any carnage or anyone that actually got shot.
Have involved music mogul Diddy Combs and his son Christian. What began as whispered allegations has escalated into nationwide raids, courtroom, confrontations, and public spectacle. This complex situation reveals much about celebrity, accountability, and the judicial system's handling of powerful figures. Federal investigations intensify.
Lil Rod's lawsuit is interesting in that there are many defendants. We talked about Christina Horam, right? Some of the allegations that came out in Lil Rod's lawsuit was Christina, of course, being Combs' right-hand woman. She allegedly had the fanny pack with the drugs that were provided to the sex workers. There are the allegations directly against Justin as well. So whenever you're proving something like this, obviously, you're going to rely on the testimony of witnesses. You know, it could be an independent witness because the sex workers, even though they're participants in a sex act, they won't necessarily be charged, or I don't think they're going to be defendants in the lawsuit if the allegation is that they were forced to perform these sex acts and it wasn't just a commercial transaction.
In March 2025, Homeland Security agents conducted simultaneous searches of Diddy's residences in 3 major cities: Los Angeles, Miami, and New York. The operations yielded significant findings, including electronic devices, firearms,
There's a whole public relations side of this. Diddy is going to want to put up a front of an innocent person. And sometimes the best defense is a good offense. Right now, investigators are going through the evidence that they seized. What they're really looking for are videos of the alleged sexual abuse. If prosecutors have that information, we're talking about days or weeks before Diddy is charged. He may go to prison for the rest of his life.
Of social gatherings, and substantial quantities of personal lubricant. While authorities briefly questioned Christian during these raids, they filed no immediate charges against him. At his father's law,
I'm not surprised she posted it. She has to. They have to control the narrative, and do their best to control the narrative. And frankly, that's her right if she has that data that to do what she wants. I don't think it helped the situation. I don't think it helped her son or or Sean Diddy. I think it may have just you still have human beings you're dealing with on both sides of the table, and basically kind of amping this up. I don't think that solves anything for anybody. Also, it's a matter of, is the public going to be sympathetic to a billionaire and his problems and his issues? This isn't something that happened, in an unfortunate instance in a lower socioeconomic area of Los Angeles or New York or Cleveland. This is in Hollywood with a $50 million mansion with luxury cars out front, and dealing with a billionaire. And then they had another one in Miami. I don't think the American people or the public are like having a whole lot of sympathy for anybody right now.
Los Angeles property, Christian experienced the humiliation of being handcuffed, though he was eventually released. The Combs' legal team swiftly characterized these actions as an ambush and emphasized that both father and son would vigorously defend themselves against what they described as baseless accusations. The visual impact of these events proved
Bad boy.
I was upgraded from my last whore. I Risha, Keisha, and Joy. And I ain't tripping if you dip me and Joy.
Shut and Mike.
I would lock 23 and 1.
And 1.
Now I ball like 23
and 1. And 1.
What's going on? Check under that shit and all that.
Right now he getting practice shots. You know what I'm saying? He getting practice shots because we got the legend in the building.
Yeah, you already know what it is, man.
Christian Combs. King, the one and only.
Yes, sir.
I'm gonna get right into it though. Music. That's good.
Yeah, I got my new music, Legacy, dropping. It's about to be crazy.
When is dropping? Let us know. Let us know some exclusive
info. 15th, October 15th. Right. When you see this,
just, might be out.
Nah, you gonna see it tomorrow. He working hard. This dropping tomorrow.
And Cardi's dropping soon. It's gonna be a visual.
But I keep it real. Ever since we've been in LA like 4 years, we've been running to you, like hearing that, see you grow, like from developing like artists to like just being cool. At first we met you, was like we just knew you was cool. Then you started dropping music.
Devastating. A father facing federal indictment while his son confronts graphic civil allegations. Breaking his public silence following these developments.
What role do you think it's possible Christian Combs could play in his father's criminal case?
The government loves superseding indictments. The government loves indicting your relatives. Why? Nothing is worse. Right now, Diddy's sitting in a jail cell. What could be worse? The thought of your son also sitting in a jail cell. So if they can prove it and they have him committing crimes and they can involve him in a superseding indictment, I don't see why they wouldn't. They do it all the time in narco cases and in other cases that I've worked on. And it seems to me like Diddy wasn't or never created these broad defined lines between his children and the alleged illegal acts that he was committing. So it's completely possible that they could get wrapped up in a superseding indictment.
Developments. The father of 7 shared photographs of his toddler daughter on social media.
Hey guys, it's Morali, daily and consistent content. Let's get straight into this video. If Christian Combs isn't working with Diddy on the side when it comes to violating BOP rules and contacting the sons, if Christian Combs isn't working with Kanye West, who's doing all of these crash outs and going to his house, accepting gifts from Kanye, if Christian Combs not trying to jump Ray J or, trying to put up these happy birthday messages and dead reality TV shows, this man is also now officially being served for significant allegations of SA on a yacht that he was on.
Simple Easter greeting. Christian, age 26, also returned to social media, dismissing circulating stories with the colloquial phrase, "stop with the caps," a contemporary expression.
People know there's drugs, there's alcohol, there's loose women, there's loose men, all kind of crazy. I don't think it's only celebrities going to be shook. He had politicians in there. He had princes in there. He also had a couple of preachers in there.
Suggesting others were spreading falsehoods. Raid footage emerges. Security recordings from inside the residence revealed federal agents employing advanced technology, including drones. The footage captured Christian with his hands elevated, pressed against a wall before being restrained, with handcuffs.
A legal drama, once again facing Sean P. Diddy Combs, who's already the subject of a federal investigation. Just yesterday, Christian Combs, Diddy's 26-year-old son, was named in a new lawsuit alleging sexual assault by a woman working on a yacht in 2022. Sean Combs is being sued for premises liability as the person who chartered the yacht and for aiding and abetting his son in the alleged assault. Well, here's the deal. Right now, anything associated with P. Diddy is considered cancerous. He could be guilty of the allegations that have been levied against him. His son could be guilty of the allegations that have been levied against him. But the reality is that even if they're not guilty of such things, their name has been tainted severely. And usually something like this happens when you create enemies in the wrong places. Usually it's not just a byproduct of your act or your actions. There's something else that's going on here. But you've seen people get accused of things a lot of times. But the tsunami of things that are coming in the direction of P. Diddy and his family appears immense.
His brother Justin appeared subsequently, hands positioned atop his head, before agents appeared to escort him down a hallway. The released video concludes with images of what seems to be another individual being forcibly removed from the home. Photographs taken afterward showed both Christian and Justin seated on the lawn, while agents continued their investigation inside. Justin's mother released a statement alongside the video footage, criticizing federal authorities for their approach during the search. She specifically highlighted concerns about excessive force, suggesting racial bias played a role in how the situation unfolded. If these were the sons of a non-black celebrity, they would not have been handled with the same aggression. Christian's career aspirations. Derailed. Before these controversies erupted, Christian had been establishing his independent professional identity beyond his famous father's influence. His musical endeavors showed promise when his single reached rhythm and blues charts in 2022. Additionally, he launched an upscale footwear line called Younger Luxury, demonstrating entrepreneurial ambition. Now, however, every headline connects Christian Combs with scandal. Social media users have flooded his accounts, some offering support, others making accusations, and many demanding he address rumors directly. Christian has maintained his privacy, limiting communication to formal statements through legal representatives. Nevertheless, public opinion continues to form around his conspicuous courthouse departure, which many interpreted as telling. Legal battles unfold. The next significant development in Christian's civil case involves a motion to dismiss. His attorney, Dyer, argues that the plaintiff's case contains significant weaknesses: no technical verification data for alleged recordings, no documentation confirming minors attended events, and no evidence supporting claims about alcoholics' beverages being tampered with. Should the judge support Dyer's position, the plaintiff may lose her opportunity for a judicial hearing. However, if opposing counsel Blackburn persuades the court that sufficient evidence exists, both parties would enter the discovery phase. This process would require the disclosure of communications, attendance records, and vessel passenger manifests, while potentially compelling witnesses to provide sworn testimony. Such proceedings could extend for years, ensuring Christian's courthouse incident remains under media scrutiny indefinitely. In response to allegations, representatives for both Diddy and Christian issued a statement to Entertainment Tonight calling the complaint filled with manufactured lies and irrelevant facts, while confirming their intention to seek dismissal. These developments coincide with new claims from Diddy's former security personnel, who recently shared additional information about the nature of social gatherings hosted by the music producer. Federal case progression across the country, federal. Prosecutors continue building their case against Diddy, with proceedings scheduled for trial beginning May 5, 2025 in Manhattan. As jury selection approaches, prosecution teams have identified at least 5 individuals prepared to testify, including former partner Cassie Ventura, who reached a settlement agreement in 2023. Prosecutors intend to present testimony from individuals who allegedly witnessed inappropriate gatherings and misconduct, establishing what they characterize as a pattern of behavior. While Christian's separate legal challenges in Los Angeles may not directly impact the New York proceedings, they potentially reinforce the prosecution's narrative regarding family dynamics. For the plaintiff in Christian's case, financial compensation represents only part of her motivation. She seeks acknowledgement that influential individuals violated legal boundaries. Her lawsuit serves as a powerful reminder of the vulnerable position whistleblowers often occupy when confronting established power structures. Lingering questions. This unfolding narrative raises numerous significant questions. Can Christian restore his reputation following his dramatic courthouse exit? Will he ever escape associations with alleged inappropriate gatherings? If allegations regarding underage individuals prove accurate, what implications arise concerning the privileges that enabled such events? The public continues watching closely as court documents and sealed evidence gradually reveal additional details. Whether Christian's abrupt departure suggests culpability or merely demonstrates filial loyalty remains hotly debated among observers. Meanwhile, legal proceedings continue their methodical progress toward eventual resolution. The Combs family situation exemplifies how quickly public perception can shift when allegations surface, especially in an era where social media instantly amplifies courtroom moments into cultural touchstones. As both federal and civil cases advance, the entertainment industry watches a powerful legacy potentially unravel through legal challenges and public scrutiny that show no signs of diminishing.